Hello. Hello, Eos. Rinji. Eos, congratulations on your affiliate. Welcome to the club. Anyway, I think I got this game fixed. Hello. I think I got this fixed. Listen. We don't talk about Wednesday, okay? That didn't happen. I updated drivers and I tried to switch it to using a different, like to get my OBS to use the other GPU, but it didn't want to capture anything that was using the other GPU, so we have to all be on the same GPU. Don't know why. You'd think technology would be in a state where it could just look at it and just be like, I'm gonna take your image and put it on my image thing. It would make sense to me. For the record, I was like, man, I want some cool nails. I've never done nails before. These are about double the length my natural nail has ever gotten before. So it's a little hard to use a keyboard. We'll see how that goes. I also got my GamerSupps waifu cup and samples in yesterday. What's up, Wolf? Your name is so hard to see on the black background. Anyway, they sent the samples, and unfortunately, I don't think I can drink them because it's like, hey, if you have a medical condition, maybe don't drink these, and I have issues with my heart rate, so I might not be able to drink these because they're all the energy ones. I was hoping they would send me some hydration ones, but they sent me 2 titty milks. That's the name of it. It's called titty milk. Don't know who is on here. I got Shy Lily's Blowhole Blast, Guacamole Gamer Fart 9000 by the Russian Badger. Don't know who that is. And then just the plain old Dragon Fruit Punch, which I would probably not drink. I'm really curious what titty milk is. I'm hoping, my brain's like, it's probably like chocolate milk flavor, right? I don't know. I haven't opened them because, again, I don't think I can drink them. Lily's flavor is good. Wow, Wolf. You're not beating any allegations here. Play Valorant and you also drink Shy Lily energy drink. So much. You're not supposed to drink that much. It's not good for you. It literally says not FDA approved on here. Yeah. It doesn't even tell you how much caffeine's in it. It just says contains caffeine. Whoa. Wait. Nope, it doesn't tell you the percentage of caffeine. It's fine. I used to drink 5 Monsters a day and I'm still alive. I think these are stronger than Monster, aren't they? It was giving me such a rush. Okay, don't tempt me. I never had any gamer type drinks until TwitchCon last year. That's so much. Are they? I think so. Let me Google it. Google. Google. How much caffeine in GG energy powder? Okay, maybe it's not. It's only 200 for a full packet of these. How much is in a Monster? Oh, no, there's definitely more. There's only 86 in Monster, and there's 200 in these packets. And they're 2 serving sizes, which is 8 ounces each. Yeah, these have way more caffeine. No wonder you were buzzed. You were wired. Anyway, let's get back into the spooky vibe games. Hello, Kenny. I have YouTube streaming too, by the way, Twitch guys. I'd still drink the entire packet in one sitting. Hi, I haven't streamed on YouTube in a while. Welcome. How are you doing? Alright, so the game's spooky and it makes me scared. That was it also made me lag a lot, so hopefully updating my drivers fixed that. I also turned down the graphic settings. It resets your settings when you reopen the game. You found my channel 10 minutes ago? Well, welcome. I do gaming streams of chaos and scuff, and I sometimes post video skits over on the side you're on right now. This said that there was voice, but I'm not reading that. I missed some of it. You guys read it, right? I would try it, but at the same time, I think I'd have to do half a packet and water it down a bunch. But I have to wash my cup. I haven't washed it yet. Did read, yes. Didn't read nothing. Alright. That's okay. We don't all have to read it. Oh! Gotta move the dog. Ouch. Cool. So something was sparking last time. Game? Wait, what was the controls? What do I do? Do I need to do this? Wait. What's the control do stuff button? Use is left mouse. I was clicking it. I was clicking. Oh, you gotta wait for the dot to get big. Ba 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 ba. Yep. So cool that I have to individually click on these. I hate this one. This camera is the worst. No, this one's also bad. That one's fine. This one is terrible. Why do I need a CCTV on myself? I was really going to chat and Twitch, but I'm not verified. No worries. There'd just be a lot of bots over there sometimes. Here to drop a lurk in your chat. Hi, Blind! I love that it makes you actually click on the individual monitors. I don't. Oh no, this one's bad. Look how dark these corners are. No, to look the camera, that's scary. Hi, Snowy, how you doing? Snowy, we gotta play more games sometimes. You gotta hit me up. Oh, cool. Alright. I'm not afraid. There's no such thing as monsters. I feel like there could be some fun way of thinking you saw something until you click the monitor and it's nothing. Okay, I suppose. But, like, I could also just look at it. I don't know where that camera is. Because I can't go past this. Yeah. I can jump. What's this game about? I'm a security guard, and something's trying to eat me. Oh, down here. There's an arrow! I didn't see that last time. Can I go in here? Oh, no! No! Loading screens. Yeah, bots are very annoying. Yes. Yes, they are. They're kind of insulting, too. Oh, I don't want to be here. Is this like Five Nights kind of game? You look at cameras, but also you walk around. So I don't know if there's a FNAF that... Nope. Can I... Why do I not have a flashlight? Why do I not have a flash... Nope. Nope. I want to leave! Ah! I don't want to be here. Nope, I'm done. Get back. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Ah. We're not dead yet. We're leaving. That's what we're doing. We're frickin' leaving. Let me back out. Where's the... It told me to go down here. But the one door I saw is locked, and then the gate was chained. Wait, is this a door to open? No. Because this is locked. You don't want me to go to that way, do you? Okay, good. I didn't want to. I'll go this way? No? The panic noise sounded way too familiar. Kingdom Hearts. I don't like that noise. I don't like, nope. It's broken. I'm not an electrician. I'm going back to my cameras where it's safe and I can shut the door. Fuck this. Fuck this. I don't like it. Hello, Chris. OMG, nope. Yep, exactly. Mastermind, hello. I'm trapped. Oh god. That's locked though. What do you want me to do about it? It's locked. I can't click it. I need a key. Yeah. Where do I get a key? Why do I not have the key? If I'm supposed to fix it, I would have keys, right? What is this? Oh, why did it do that? Oh, fine. It's fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. It's fine. Fuck you. It's not funny. Nope, 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 nope. No, no. It's not fun. It's not. I'm not. I'm done. I want to leave. I quit. It was knocking. Oh god. Ah! I hate it here. This game is like that face scare. Oh, you mean like the mazes? Or the one where you're watching a car in the nice mountainside and it just goes rah! Yeah. Before could you prefer you fracture? It doesn't matter. Everybody calls me something else. Something different, not something else. One of those things. It don't matter. Could I have a key? Do you have a key in here, please? Shut the door. Shut the door. Shut the door! Also, turn on the lights in here. Why is it so dark? Key? Why is it so dark? I can't see shit. There was no key in there. Been forsaken. It looks like very... There's... Ugh. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in here. I'm gonna go back to my camera room. Okay. Don't look up. They can get me if I don't look at it. That's the rules. Them's the rules. This is why you pull a blanket over your face if you don't look at it. Nope. 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 No one's home. No one's home. No. Nope. Not looking. I'm not looking. You just saw a vision of someone getting Jason Todd. As someone who loves horror games but is total coward, I feel your panic. I like to watch other people afraid. I don't want to be afraid. That's why I'm calm when I play with other people. Cause like, if you're scared, I can't be scared. That's why I play it co-op. That's my secret. My shame. What's that bed there? Did I come from this way? Yeah, I don't know. I'm leave. Leave. I don't care. You can stay here. Don't eat me. Gosh, I shouldn't have picked this game. I really shouldn't have. Lol can vouch that's true. Oh god. There's like so many really dark corners, and for some dumb reason, the security guard has no flashlight. Why would I want to go fix that, huh? I'm not trained for this. That's how you get electrocuted. I'm going back now. No. Nope. 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 Not my problem. It's not my problem. I'm leaving. Nope. Not my problem. I don't care who's there. I'm just told to call somebody else. Like, the cops. The cops, that's their job. That's not my job. I am running. This is running. This is full sprint. I'm leaving. Let me out! You son of a... You're gonna make me freaking investigate it. You're gonna make me investigate? Oh, God. Quick, someone jump in VC and make it worse. Ah, joke's on you. I would have to answer the call, but there is no call. This game, you suck. But you don't go toward the danger. You see, this is why I'd survive a horror movie. Hey, we need gas. No, this is not a gas place. We will keep going. We have enough gas. There's a corridor. Oh, it starts happening. You get an ending that the game calls nope by turning around and leaving. There's a few of them that do that. I've noticed people just immediately try to leave. It's called self-preservation. There's no one here. Can I leave now? Or you want me to keep going? Nope. Nope. We investigated. No one's there. We're done. I like how Blind had the same exact reaction I did. I am so not getting paid enough for this, Chris. I'm not getting paid anything, I bet. It's like FNAF. I can't open it. What the? I live here now, no. No, I don't. I don't live here. Oh, fine. It's fine. It's fine. The tactic, don't look, right? The tactic is don't look. Tactic is don't look. Door? No. Door? No. Okay. Don't look. Okay, there's nothing there. I'm good to leave now, right? I can leave now. How many doors was that? There's 4 doors. Okay. No. Nothing there. Nope. Nope. I didn't see that the first time. I'm not going now. I'm super noping the fuck out. I'm out. I'm out. Open this damn gate. I went. I investigated. Use the professors. What? What? Blind, I don't understand. I need a translation. Unspooked that text. It's gonna make me look, isn't it? Oh, God. Do I have to click on it? Is that what it wants? Oh, I do. Oh, cool. Well, that's officially true. Nope! No! No! What is that? No. There's no crouch button. I feel very out in the open. I can't crouch. Hello? Don't answer. No crouch, no flashlight, lots of dark corners. Oh God, don't be. No! No! What is wrong with the security guard? He's stupid. It has a death wish. I didn't even finish freaking reading the sign. Don't be afraid of the shadows. It's me well, stop watching me. I'm stalker. I don't want to be here. Whose first instinct to hearing things go bump in the darkness is, what is that? Let me go check it myself. I have not even a flashlight to whack somebody with. Open this goddamn gate! I'm just close your eyes and go, all right. I can't close my eyes because then I can't see where I'm going, but I'll look at the ground and go, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you. Chris, if whatever happens, it's your fault, okay? Whatever happens. Oh, I can't see. Okay, there's nothing there. There's a wall. What the flip is that? Do I have to click the wall? Okay, I can't click on the wall. I hear things moving. I don't like it. Goodbye. Is this more hall? No, okay. I hear things. Or I think I hear things, you know? Can I leave? I want to leave. Please. I went in. I looked at the things. I heard the noises. Is there something there? Oddly enough, I can see with the light in my face. That's weird. That's not how that works. Yep, you're watching me. I am fully aware of you watching me now, and, shut that. I'm good. I think I'm good. I'd rather you didn't, but, I don't get any blame. You wanted to play, get this job. I didn't ask for this job. I was dropped here, and I'm totally okay with you watching me. I am totally not okay with being watched. I want this gate to open. I want to go back to my little room with my creepy cameras. I don't know what I'm supposed to click on now. I investigated the noise. I checked. This place is disgusting. High voltage, just like electrocharge me. As long as you do it where I can't see or hear. Yeah, he's failing though. I don't want to know you're watching me. I don't know what this wants from me because I've clicked these doors. There's a sign. Alright. Click that. There wasn't a sign in here, I don't think. I couldn't click on this. Because I can't click on this either. Oh, I got so scared. I was like, I can't see anything anymore. Maybe there's something on the... I looked on the desk, though. It's just an old computer. Like, why is this even here? It's the fuck back. There's fingerprints. Reality is in something by lags of drugs. Alright, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It gets significantly unspooky when I don't know what I'm doing. Or supposed to be doing. Reality is an illusion created by a lack of drugs. You could read that. Maybe the stalker has a thing for robot gremlins. What do you know about the gremlin thing? What? YouTube? Why do these have like a doorknob sound? That's not what that kind of sound this door makes. Sound design. I can't click on anything. There's nothing. It doesn't even register that I cannot go outside. This guy has had no reaction to the door being shut. I need to see someone or hello? I can't open this. Hello? Maybe you can use the use the shiny colorful thing next to the gate. The high voltage lights. Can you turn the thing back on you turned off? No. I can't click on anything, and I also can't see. Hello? Yoop. What is this game called? Homeless. We all lost. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I went to where the noise was made. I went as far down the hallway as I could go. There's boxes there. I re-clicked on that. The game is busted. Dude, was I supposed to shut this? Okay, I shut the door. It's just you and me. Can I turn this off? Oh, I can turn... No. I'm not looking. Not looking over there. Alright, I'm gonna close my eyes. You tell me what it is, chat. What is it? Is it safe? I don't like that.
Run, bitch! Run!
What if you scream for help? You're trapped. The music is very intense. Oh no! Whose first idea would it be to... No. No. No! Why? Maybe the horror game is not knowing how to focus the game. Yeah, it's not very obvious when you're supposed to click sleep. Help? No, bitch, help me! Hopeless. Bullshit! Oh no. No, no, no. Nope. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Absolutely the fuck not. No. Nope. Not going anymore. No. Fuck you. What was that? Nope. 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 No. Hard fucking pass the line. Yeah, we're past that now, blind. We went down the hallway more. There was shadows. It was not, no. We were noping again. We're noping. We're past that. There was a figure. I can't peek around the corner. I don't know. No. Stick your hand in there. Oh god, it's so dark. Oh god. Jiggle peeks. I saw someone jiggle peeking some game and it didn't work out for them. I can't see over there. I'm just gonna... It's a fucking door. This... No. Oh god. Why are we going deeper? That's not a thing you do. Just get it over with. Likely another homeless has entered the... Yeah! Not my problem. Not my problem. Bruh, no. No, man. Nah, it's enough for me, fam. Ugh, let me out. You can do it and believe me. I don't believe in me, is the thing. I really don't believe in me. I'm going to my computer room, and I'm gonna shut the door, and I'm not leaving until the sun comes up! Nothing bad happens in the daylight! Yes, backseating is okay until I'm like, oh wait, I figured out, I'm good now. I do get stuck often, so for the sake of progression, there is backseating allowed. Okay, no, nothing. I didn't see anything. You guys see him, right? You guys see him, right? I don't want to click the camera. It could be a smudge. You should clean the camera. Alright, let me rub it off. What is this guy doing at the station at this hour? Why is he so tall is the question. I can't back out of the camera. I can't back out. It's just... I'm not looking. I'm not looking. No. Chat, did I shut the door behind me first?
Burn the witch!
No, burn the man! You stay there. You stay there. That's worse. That's worse. I'd be gone. I would be gone. Pay the man and he'll leave. I would! I'd give him a whole ass house. I'd buy him pizza. I'd buy him a mansion if he just leave me the fuck alone. We could trade play. He could have my house. He could have my car. I don't have a house, but you can have my apartment. It'd be good. IDK where you're not immediately calling the... Oh, wait, can I? I can't! That's why. Take my badge. I freaking leave. Oh, God. You can leave now? Anyway, this camera is a lot nicer, you know? Why is your phone off the hook? I don't know. Can't put it back. He's still there. He can see me through the cameras. He can see me through the cameras. I can't crouch. I feel exposed. I think the game wants you to go check on him. I don't know where that is. I do know where that is. I don't want to... You can smell your feet. That must be really stinky. It's sweat. It's the anxious sweat, so that's what happened to Slenderman's cousin. Slenderman. You want me to go that way? I don't wanna. He's definitely down there. Hi, you. You sound nice and stressed. Ah! That's an understatement. Oh, God. This game is FPS. I am supposed to have a gun. I feel like the horror games where you can't defend yourself are the worst. Why would I go into the sewer? Slenderman's Twitter handle, Slenderman. Guys, don't add lore to Slenderman. Not everything. Why would I go into the sewer? Also, hi, Zed. Yes, hello. Why would I not? Because there's a Slenderman down there. He wants to eat. That's a long ladder. Why is that ladder so long? What is Why is that so high? Why would I go back? There's a million reasons to not go see the creepy man in the sewer. Number 1, he wants to eat me. Number 2, he's kinda creepy. I just wanna go home. There's many dark corners. The air is dusty. I have asthma. I have asthma now. Stop. Panic. No panic. Number 2, I don't want him to eat me. Oh, I can go in here. What is that? Hot service automatic. Jesus, this is a horrible crime. I thought he wanted to eat. Not looking. Not looking, you can't make me. Where's the door? Is that the door? I'm stuck in here. That's okay, I'll pay for this crime. Someone call the cops. Tell them where I am, and I'm next to a decapitated, squished face. Can you shut that? Oh no, shut it. Thank you. That's not my business. Why? The panic noise needs to be variable and include the drowning noise from Sonic 2, About to Lose music. I never played Sonic, so that's not traumatizing to me. Alright, Jiggle Peaks. Alright. Oh, why? See, that's how you know you make a good creepy game, is when your players are creeped out and nothing is actually happening. You know it's a good horror game when chat freaks out. Jiggle check. What is that? What is that? Oh, it's a goddamn note. Order for vulture blend of human eye and brain. Walk backwards. Walk backwards. To be fair, I'm not the best choice for the big lip test. Considered really easily. Where'd the door go? Oh shit, it's dark over here now. Why is it dark over here now? Oh god, it's... Okay. Okay, cool, I can leave now. I should call the cops. Which way did I come from? I don't know if the jiggle check is working for me. Oh, it's gonna make me go down there. I don't know. If only your phone line weren't cut. Oh my god, you're right. It's 1987. I don't have a cell phone. I could just hide in here. I could hide in here. Right? I don't want to go down here. No. 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 Honestly, I'm good. He can have the whole city if I can leave. Ah, fucking hell. I scream my loneliness amidst crowded streets, but no one. I hear you. I hear you. I promise. Okay. Closing my eyes. Not looking. Not looking. Not looking. You can't make me. Not looking. Nope. Leaving. This is what we're doing. We're leaving. Leaving. Oh, there's a door at the end of this hall. There's a door. What is it? Oh god, it's open. We came this way, right? Ladder. Let me out. Oh, you kidding me? What do you want? I don't want to shake his hand. He murdered somebody. He murdered. Which way am I supposed to go? Which way am I supposed to go? Oh. I'll murder you too if you aren't careful. I'm so careful! Oh, that's shut. Chat, is this where he was standing? This is where he was standing, wasn't it? Oh gosh. It's locked. There's nobody here. Yep. It's broken. I should leave now. Oh, damn it. This is open. How does he... Okay, it's fine. A phone. Call. Why is your first instinct of finding a head not to call? Wait, this phone's not connected to anything. Manufacturing trains cabin 3328 1742 84. What was that? You see, that's why you don't... He's messing up all the systems. Yeah. That's an electrician's problem, not mine. Where are we? Did you hear that noise? I don't think he's a regular homeless man. Oh god. Oh god. Why? Oh, good. I didn't want to go in there. Good. Love it when the... Oh, is it? The water's running in the toilet, is it? You know, that's probably just me pissing myself. Fuck. You know, if you had those automatic faucets, like the ones where you push the button and then it like slowly comes back out, you wouldn't have this problem, you know? Alright, Jiggle Peek. What's this? This gate? Oh. Oh god. I can't go in here. I'm a man. I'm a man. Ooh, guys, we can call in an emergency plumber now and feed him to the homeless guy. Oh, you want me to turn that off? I have a lot of responsibilities that weren't in the job description. Just checking. Just checking. What is dripping still? I turned the water off. Well, you gonna feed Mario to the homeless guy? I'll feed anybody to the goddamn homeless guy. I'm good. I'm out. Oh, stop locking me in places! Fucking hell. Hello? Why the fuck did that scare me? That the penthouse is being sold in its current condition and no warrants or warranties or guarantees are provided. Vulture. He has a house? He has a house. He's not fucking homeless then. Man, he's kind of messy, huh? Alright. I guess I leave. I don't want to fucking play this stupid game anymore. Or you want me to go on this one? Surprisingly clean toilet. Oh. Ah! Ain't no way he didn't see me. Ain't no way. Ain't no way he didn't see me. Nope, nope, nope. The subway has to be haunted to keep you trapped. Oh, he's right in front of me, isn't he? He is right in front of me, isn't he? I can't leave. Not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. It's none of my business. It's none of my business. There's not even a gate there. None of my business. Why do I keep going to check things knowing that somebody's murdering somebody? This bitch has no self-preservation. Did you just fucking laugh at me? It's like that damn bug all over again. Where's the leave? Oh, wait, this was closed earlier. I wanted to leave, not go further in. Ah. Why? Why though? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Huh? Oh, god damn it. This isn't a homeless guy, it's a fucking demon! Dude, if you're gonna kill me, just fucking do it. Four. Okay, I thought I had to count the people, but I guess not. I don't know the numbers you want. Do you know the numbers it wants? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've never seen it type wrong before when I entered something. Incorrect. It stopped me for a second. I was confused. Well, there's... Oh, there's an 8. There's 7. Other side? I don't know if that counts as the number. 3? 7, 3, 8. 7. 7, 3, 8, 7. 7, 3, 8, 7. I'm a genius. Ow. Ugh. I'm sweating and I don't know if it's hot or if I'm stressed. Why is there a subway underneath the subway? Are we in a subway because the homeless guy eats fresh? Both? What do you mean both? Jiggle pig, jiggle pig, jiggle pig. Damn it. Is your tail stuck? Oh. Hey, there's a leaking issue here. There's a leak issue happening. You guys thirsty? Open up and say, ah. It's definitely clean water. Why? How deep? Is this normal? Do subways do this? Don't hydrate me. You're making my thing go crazy. Hopeless. Listen, I want to go home. You should go home. I saw your paper. You have house. Bitch. No fire. Oh shit, no. Nope. 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 What was that? Ugh, you're gonna make me go look, huh? You made me look. Whatever the sound is, it's making my thing pop. My speakers pop. Homeless man, please leave me alone. I have no shelter. Oh. Hey. You're fine. I'm leaving. Oh, wait. Who are you? What are you doing here? Don't mess with me. Please leave me alone. I have no shelter, please. Alright. I'm fine if he stays. Don't worry, friend. I won't harm you. I just want to know if you've seen a tall homeless man named Vulture around here. I've heard... I've been here the whole time. I don't know any homeless people. Please don't kick me out. Alright. Sorry. I'll turn this light off. Alright, I'm sorry. You just got to have a light on you now. My bad. It's okay, buddy. We're just here to sacrifice you to the vulture. Ooh, that's a good idea. This way? No? No. Oh, okay, fine. Why is that red? Why is that red in my chat? Is it because it's a link? Why is this red? If we sacrifice the homeless to him, he will only get stronger. Oh. You know, that actually makes a lot of sense, Blind. He's like Kirby, huh? I know what you want. You want me to walk that way. Facing that way, but I'm not gonna. Nope. The music's getting intense! Ha! Do it. Do it. Do it. Flip. Do it. No. 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 Please. No. No. It's dark. No thanks. He's in there. Oh yeah, it wants me to see through these windows. It wants me to look through these windows. But I didn't, because I'm smart. You can't force your fear into me. The reflections of these tiles is very shiny. It's almost like a mirror. A mirror. Ready for the Jiggle Pigs? Oh, it's an elevator. Take me back to safety. Game saved. We're still alive. By plot armor alone. Safety. You lying son of a bitch. This isn't safety. Door. Door. Safety. Okay. 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 We're opening. I gotta call the cops right now. Now we have to call the cops, not after the head, but the decapitated body. No, let me in first. Hi. You seem smaller. Not enough evidence. Big body, so lots of evidence. You... Oh. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Can I help you? I, needed to call the cops here. What? What do you want? Make sure you're in my peripheral there. I don't see anything on the cameras. I think you're too small to be the guy. He wants you to leave safety, so no! Stay there. He's gone. Wait. Hi. If you're gonna do it, just do it. Meet the stranger. I'm getting paranoid. Nope, that was totally normal. What do you mean? I'm so sweaty. Call cops. Shit, the phone's dead. That looks like a shadow. This one? No. That doesn't even look like an active track. Oh. Oh god. It feels like this guy wants to turn my nighttime into a nightmare. Oh god. I'm hungry. Can I eat you? Sure, man. Just get it over with. Oh god. You're crazy. You're looking at a preternaturally tall man staring directly at the camera with a sign that says, "Can I eat you?" And you just, yeah, you can. Like he can't hear you. No, I said get it over with. Nope. What do you mean, nope? What did you see? This? Nope, this? Look how tall he is. He has to lean his head. I'm not going. Why would you go investigate that? I don't want to go investigate that. Why would I do that? Why? Tell me why. Oh, fucking hell. You want me to go in the deep, dark, scary tunnel? Kitty? Kitty? Kitty, kitty, kitty. Psst, 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 psst. Psst, 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 psst. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Don't tell me to go over there. I heard a cat. Cats keep the monsters at bay. And dogs. What is this message? Oh. Okay. Ah, blah, 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 blah. Oh, lovely. Well, might as well go get our face eaten. 'Cause I'm over this shit. I'm over it. Ow! Fuck. Nee. I'd rather go home. The man wants to eat me. Nani? Hello? What do you... Why in here, then? Why in here? What do you... Hello? Hello? I did the jump. I can only jump so high. There's nothing in here. Yep. Surely that means I can just... Leave. Alright. I tried to jump. You didn't let. Wait, do I need to move the box? Oh. I have to click it, I can't hold it. Why did you jump backwards? Why are you doing that? I can't pick this up. I can't pick it up. I can only click on it. Well, I see you want me to stand on these boxes. I'm guarantee soggy cardboard would not hold a man's weight, but I cannot pick these up. I can't. I can't lift it. I can only push. This is all I can do with these. Bruh. I can't pick these up. Why doesn't the guy walk away to a police station? That's a good question, Chris. But I think we've all come to the conclusion our guy here is very stupid and doesn't make it past 1987. Or is it 83? I don't remember. EOS read it, not me. I can't pick it up! Do you think Mr. Tallman will give me a boosties? I need uppies. You can grab this and lift yourself up. But the box... This isn't working. I don't know what you expected me to be able to do when you have the controls like this. Oh! The fuck? You said the interact button was the other mouse button, sir. Stop tumbling! Alright, I fixed it. It's one of them scenarios where the game doesn't listen to its own rules of controls. We don't use our hands around here to climb things. What is that? Alright. Anyway, I think Tallman would give you a uppy so you can nibble your nose. Your toes. Oh. Alright, you want me to open that? Is that what it is? Oh. Yes, perfect. Yes! Yes! Can't eat me. Can't eat me now. Yes, this is the way. I have found the solution. We die weird. Good. Yes, that was perfect. Perfect. Do I have to start over? What do you mean new game? It was 90. It was 98, not 80. Did this really... Can't kill me if I kill me first. It worked. What do you mean game saved if it just starts over completely? That's not game saving. What the fuck? That's stupid. Don't lie and say, shut the fuck up. Game saved if game didn't actually save. It doesn't save games. Cool. Alright, speedrun time. It's not creepy a second time. Fucking hell. That's stupid. Now I'm just fucking annoyed by your game. Your game can't scare me if I'm pissed off at it. I can't even skip this. Unskippable intro that you are forced to watch. Game saving, but no actual game saving. Oh, 50 years bombers, but they were we smoke. Aki! Welcome, raiders! Lethal Rabbit Raid! Can we get a shout out?
Akabit Sharusagira rated your channel with 3 viewers.
Wow, TTS is very white sounding saying that name. Speed run! Look at this camera. Oh wait, gotta pick up this thing. Pick up a name tag, I guess, in case. Oh yeah, I gotta go fix that. Hey, run faster. Running feels like walking. Okay, walking, running. Walking, running. Walking, running. There's like, well, hours wasted. It was only 1 hour, not multiple hours. Make sure you follow Akibit. I can't tell. Aki is a lethal rabbit. I saw them in, Benji, what was that game? Once Human. They were carving up a deer. Very murdery. Wholesome. I need a key. Bum, 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 bum. Speed run. Speed run. Follow Aki or they will invade your territory. Invade your territory. Hello? What are you knocking on? See, it's not scary a second time, guys. It's not scary a second time. Man, that was ridiculous. The game said if you want to pretend to be funny, then you have to start all the way the fuck over. I dropped a coin, but apparently I don't care about that. I get this key. Hello. See, now I'm moving too fast for the game because knocking from outside the room. I don't necessarily remember which way we were going. Ah, I didn't make it for the first swing. Liberate. It will liberate your territory. Aki, that's still invading. Okay, do I have to... Okay. Oh, there. Oh, there. Whoop. Oh, there. Hello. 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 What? What is that? Hiya. Oh, there's another sign here. Lost family, lost home, lost everything. Ripperoni. Oh, do. Help. See how fast that was when we are not spooked? See how fast that was when we're not scared? Cool. Well, time to go see the beautiful man. Hi, Safi. I don't know if you want to be here for this. What? Yep, exactly what I said. I don't know if you want to be here for this. Ready? Bun dun dun da 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 da. Okay. Ready? Alright. Speed run. Speed run. Is it a fingernail thing? Could be. I don't know. Because that's my one true nope, Safi leaves. I got fake nails on. I'm scared my real nails are gonna get ripped off from it, because I don't have very strong nails. You see that? No, you can't. But it says game save up in the corner after every area loads. It lies. There's no saving anything. Sleepy. I got woke up early from noises outside. Really loud noises. Ding dong. Ah! Jesus, this is a horrible crime. Oh, there. I can read this. We have nothing to say about it, but we can read it. It was the vulture making noises outside your house. No, actually, it wasn't. It was either a lawnmower or... Is there something in front of my... Why is there a street lamp in here? It's weird. The lawnmower or the dumpster people. Da 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 da. Bom bom wah. I wonder if they got text off of real signs or they're just putting shit. Right? That goes only so far. Dumpster people on a Sunday? Yeah. When do your dumpster people come? I don't know. There was loud noises. I also live near a hospital, so maybe it was a hospital thing. Alright. Or wait, Tuesday? The other T-Day. Trashman comes on Friday. Friday old place was Thursday. Oh, toilet. Toilet. You can't scare me. I've seen it all before. At this new place, the trash comes on Friday, but every other Friday, not weekly. Is it because you're out in the boonies? Up in the mountains? The boonies. You do. And then we go in here, and we You shut the door. Wait. Oh, I didn't read the note on the guy first. Brr, 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 brr. There you go. Read the note. Go into the toilet. Shut the door. Where does he come from? Is he just walking? Vultures? Yeah, that's that guy. But singular. Oh, hey, there's the rest of the head from earlier. Yeah! Ah! He came back! I didn't know he came back! Is there a gap under the walls? Yeah. That's normal. That's when you're out of TP and you're like, hey, neighbor, do you have any TP? And they hand you some under the toilet stall wall so that you don't get stains on your undies. Do. Don't laugh at me. I'll come find you. I'll eat you first. Lead your eyeballs. They're weird and glowy, and I like shiny things. Do you think the code's the same? Surely it's not RNG code. Ha! It was the same. I entered it. Thank you. Bye-bye. I miss European toilets. Fully closed. No weird gaps for toddlers to be crawling through. That's actually happened to me. I'm like... can you control your gremlin, goblin, disgusting little heathens? Good God. People think just because they have kids is everybody else's problem too. And I'm like, no, bro. Kids can exist in spaces. It's not the kid that's the problem. It's you that's the problem. You know? Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. No, all your Europeans' toilets are gapless. Please teach your kids to not crawl on public bathroom floors. Please teach your kids not to scream. If your kids are screaming, remove them from the public space. Just because you have to deal with the screaming all the time doesn't mean it's everybody else's problem too. You chose to have a kid. Take it home. I know, you want out of your house. If they're not behaving, you can't leave the house, so teach your kids properly. Please don't kick me out. Don't worry. I'm not going to kick you out. Okay, bye. You should close this gate so that you can be safe. But I think this man controls the gates. Do we go this way? Oh. I'm not looking. You can't. Oh. That's what I missed. Yep, not looking. Yep, that explains the intense music before. Not looking. Not looking. Heck you, guy. Heck you, guy. Heck you, guy. My dog's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. Alright. Took 15 minutes to get roughly in the same spot. Listen, if you put me in a situation, you are crazy. No, that's incorrect. It is you is crazy. Get your grammar right. Hi, what's up, strange man? You got goggly eyes. Shake your hand. Okay, bye. Hasta la bye-bye. For the record, when you called people and the line wasn't working, you'd either not have a dial tone, or it'd be like... so the silence coming from this phone doesn't... Like, you would know before you started pushing buttons. Where was he? Which room? Which room was it? Which one was it? Oh, there he is. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. I am hungry. Can I eat you? Tell us more about the time before you... You're older than me! You're older than me. Renji's like 10 years older than me, guys. Alright. Chat, we tried. But the game was like, yeah, no, you can't enjoy the safety of non-existence. You have to die by the man. The hungry homeless man. Hungry, hungry man. Hungry, 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 hungry man wants to eat you. And you have to let him. It was much more pleasant to be cooked by the fire. You is baby confirmed I am only 27. He is not 27. He lies. I'm not even 27. Ah. Box. Renji is not 27, he's 37. Oh, I got stuck on the door. Did you see that? Hello? Switch? No? Okay. This one? Now that one? No? Why would I walk through the fire? That makes me susceptible to the scary man. We are no longer friends. How dare you imply that I am old? You can't get rid of me by just saying we're not friends anymore. You can't get rid of me that easily. Kill it with fire! Nope. The heck? Why was he just munching? Was that the guy? Did we feed him to the homeless man? Who is he eating? I can't see over here. I can't see. Oh, there's a door. No, there's not. There a door over here? No. Oh, it's a path. With this. Oh gosh. I gotta say, no thank you. No thank you, I'd like to leave. At what point do you stop investigating shit? Okay, no. Fuck you. Did we die? Are we done? Where am I? Ah! Didn't your mother tell you not to play with your food? Where am I? Door? No. I walked past this door. I tried to click on it. This way? This neighborhood looks familiar. It doesn't to me. I don't know, this door tells me maybe don't go inside. What Freddy Krueger ass shit is this? Power? Turn on the lights. What is creaking? Knock knock. Oh. Oh, you scared me, man. What's up? Hi. You gonna... Hello? You live here? Nice jacket. Oh. Okay, bye. You first, actually. Oh my god. You look like you had light. What are you looking at? Okay, bye. I guess. Ooh, no. Nope, nope, nope. We're leaving, okay? Can you push the button? I apparently am not allowed to. Oh, gosh. Did you see the eyes? Chat? Look. You see the eyes? Ghost apartment. You don't see that? You Anyone see that? Right there? Cool, I can leave now? No? There's nowhere else. Oh, there's nothing. Oh. 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 I'm safe away from the horror. Oh. Wait, I can't see. It's thunderstorming too? Who's got a harmonica caught in their throat? Don't do that. Sewage. Ew. I'm leaving. Where am I supposed to go? Is this a door? No. In there? No. Oh, there's more stairs. Stop running in the halls! Eviction notice. Joe Smith. Due to unpaid rent totaling $1,550, this letter serves to formally notice that you must vacate the property by 4/8/72. Remove all belongings and leave property in a good condition by this date. Yeah. How many people are actually gonna leave your shit in a good standing after you evict them? What are you gonna do? Stop jacking up rent prices on shitty buildings. Look, man, I know you're angry about everything. I can't figure out where the choking harmonica guy is coming from. But I went all the way to the top. I can leave now, right, strange man? What do you want? What do you want from me, huh? What do you want? I investigated. I saw the ghost. I looked all around. Alright, back up the stairs, I guess. I tried all the doors. I feel like that guy is choking on his harmonica. Wait. More stairs? Did I try that door? These? Nothing. No click. Oh. Why would I go in there? Why would I go in there? I think this might be the house we lived in when I was a kid. Wait, is the man our dad? Papa? What is that? It's weird. Hmm? You lived here. Weird layout. I lost my car. Can someone find it? God. Fuck. Why? Nope. Nope. Drugs. More drugs. Spray. Pill container. Omeprazole. This is either for acid reflux or anxiety. I don't remember. Syringe. I don't know what the syringe is for. Amoxicillin. This is an antibiotic, isn't it? Yep. Don't ask why I know so much. They're gonna sue your ass. For what money? No, thank you. I didn't order anything. Thanks. I don't see no damn car anywhere. In this thing? Nope. Car. Got it. Nope. Nope. Oh. Here you go. Don't know what that was. I got the car. Ocean? Why ocean? Where am I? Oh. Nope. I can't move. I don't know if you should be walking on water. It won't let me go anywhere except forward. Alright. Ah! I told you got this fucking over with. I can't believe you done this taking all this time. Your mother should have told. He hates the city just like I do. Yeah. Give him a hug. We were sacrificing people for the hungry man. It is Dad! Why was he jump scaring us? Oh. Sinner, killer, sinner. Didn't kill him, didn't kill him, didn't kill him, didn't kill him. Papa! 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 Inner demon. Papa! God is dead. I don't know if gods were technically alive. Papa! What happened to you? Motorcycle? How the hell did you get that in here? Papa! Doku desu ka? Papa. 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 I can't click on anything again. Did I need to look at something on the wall? No. Hello. Can't click. Click nothing. Papa? Oh. Wants me to take the fall for murder. I gotta kill him. Oh. Papa. Papa. どこですか? Papa. Papa. I feel like if you keep shooting the boards you could probably kick through, you're not gonna have ammunition to take them out. You know? Papa, I've been playing some fun games. Ow. Damn, he bitch slapped me. I shot him! You better not. Okay, there's a continue. Why wasn't there a continue from the other game? Game? Wait, what happened? I can't. Dude, the fucking game is stuck. I can't click anything. My fucking god, it wouldn't let me alright, we're done with that one. I'm not starting all the way the fuck over because you don't have a continue save game from your fucking main screen. Anyway, we're gonna play something else now. Actually, let's do this one. That was bullshit. Wobs. Let's do more of Wuthering Waves. The game wouldn't let me hit continue. I had to hit the Windows button to get out of the game. And then I was trying to click continue from like outside the game so that when I clicked in, it would click continue, but it wasn't doing anything. So I hit exit to main menu to see if it was just broken, and yes, it was just broken. Waves. Drops. Is there drops right now for Wuthering Waves? If active. I don't know. I'll just put that up. That was ridiculous. Dee dee doo 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 doo. Ba 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 ba. Nickelodeon. I forgot to change the game. Oops. There we go. Category. Cool. There we go. We need to go do more of the event. So let's go there. I think we'll play for another hour, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Yay, back and forth. Okay. Let's go. Get it. Excuse me. God, it takes so long for those green ones to load. Whoop. I saw her over on the side. Game was broke. Yeah. Looked away and the scary went away. See, I told you, Blind, that's the solution. So many requests, darling. I can't let you do all of this alone. Yin Shao. It's okay. I'll finish them on time. Never doubted that. I know you just pulled all-nighters for another project. It's only been a couple of days. You need rest. And if you take this job, you'll have to travel around for inspiration, and it's not going to be light work. Sure you'll be alright? Yes, please let me take this job. I'll start working right now. Workaholics. Sometimes you just gotta take a nap. Don't worry, I'll get her. We'll take a nap. Is anything wrong? I really don't want to read all this text. My attention span is near zero. That sounds like a lot of work. Never misses deadlines, but I don't want her to overwork herself. You're gonna help us? Really? Let me think. How about taking photos of the landscape she chooses? That way she can just use those photos as references. She can stay home and focus on her art instead of traveling. It'll save her time and energy. Can you help us with that? I'll pay you, of course. Well, if you're gonna pay me, sure. I like being paid. Now, we still need pics of the waterfall at Billbourne Ravine and the Jinchua City. Piece of cake. Ooh, cake sounds good. Mic audio is crackling. Why? Why is it crackling? I didn't do anything. Turn this down. Is that better? Still crackling? Is it okay now? Oh. Doo-doo-doo. Gonna go take a picture. The ravine. Why is coffee highlighted like that? Do. Let's find a good spot for my photo. look at that. Beautiful. And now to the city. I'm so very hungry. Goat, 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 goat. Ha! Goat, death. Over there. Whoop. Well, stop talking! Unable to use in current state. Just let me take the goddamn picture! Ugh, the grass is in the shot. God dang it. Hold on. The grass is in my face. There we go. No grass in my face. That's good. Beautiful. Did it! Now you can paint it. Alright. Fast travel. Fast travel. I'm hungry too. I don't know what I want to have for dinner. Tacos. The blood of your enemies. Blah, blah, dope, deeply should have no problem working on the paintings. I'm going to go do... Tancho, you leave... Puzzled. I just see someone out of the corner of my eye. She felt familiar. Never mind. I'm probably just seeing things after you're staying up too late. Girl! Take a nap! Deliver photos. Here are your photos. Easy peasy. Bye-bye. Good news. You don't need to paint in plain air this time. Look what we got you. These are reference photos. Panorama view of the Chinchou city. These are exactly what I needed. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm a good photographer. Heh. Never dared to go to places like Belburn Ravine. Could it be the person I saw near those peach trees? What? We've met. I had to do your whole character quest before this. Ow. Sorry. I got something. Whoa. Package. Nice. Nice. I don't think it was delivered yet, but... Now I know what I'm going to eat. I had to I bought import, is it... Ropoki? Confirm. She's not very good with teamwork. Ba 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 ba. Ow. Store. Did I level up? Oh. What are you telling me that for? I don't need that. I don't need that. Whoop. I need to pee. Do this one. Start. Nice. Oops. Overwhelmingly positive. E. Is E good? Ooh. Start. Renown. Eureka. Wow. D is failing. Companions. Interact. Oh. What the flip? What in the atomic game is this? We're gonna go hang out. Yay. I don't know what that was, honestly. Mostly positive. I'm a failure, as per usual. A C is also failing. And now I can get the stall. This one. Ugh, I have so much to do with this event. Cool, can we go do that? Oh. Patty? Oh. Hi, Day. You missed the spooky game. We finally got it to work, but then it didn't work. You know how you... The window thing? Somebody was outside of it. You would have loved it. You would have loved it. I'm sweaty. Also, you always have impeccable timing of joining when I'm like, I think I'll be ending soon. Onegai. Are they wishing for an answer? You would have loved the game. Or are you crying about me saying I probably was gonna end soon? Both. I'm hungry, Day. I haven't eaten. He's so pretty, boy. Maybe we don't want nobody to care for her. Can't draw conclusions solely based on words alone. I'm curious as to what drove her to write these words. Sadness.
どんな約束を交わしたのか。漂白者どうしたの？なんだか心ここにあらずって感じだけど。
生死に関わる願いなんて私たちだけの力でどうにかできるの
？Wish to choose the pain of separation from a loved one better than anyone else. If we handle this wrong, it might. So that's what you're worried about. It seems that Baishi said about you is true. You do have a gentle soul. Guys, you hear that? I have a gentle soul. Write that down. Don't forget it. Gentle soul right here. I'm sensitive. Sensitive. Besides, we're not trying to. You has a soul. Gentle soul. Gentle. Gentle. I want the little robots. What else? This disappeared. It's quite awkward. I don't know where it went. Well. One of my nails fell off and I don't know where it went. I need to find it because my dog will try to eat it. I don't see it anywhere and I didn't hear it hit anything. It's just the weird part. Well, dang. Big rip on the lost nail. Yeah. I gotta find it, because we're gonna take these off now. Which is fine. Because I only kept them on this long because I was proving a point to my fiance. He said I would take it off the second I started to try to play games, and I didn't. And then his other one was, oh, you'll take them off probably like at 10 o'clock. And I didn't, so I win. Anyway, let's see. Read. Oh, Twitch. Let's see who's live. We're gonna go to someone new. This is VD the Apple. Okay. Well, I'm glad you won. Won what? We didn't win. The game crashed. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you... not tomorrow. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. But I'll see you Tuesday. Bye-bye.